signing, under the radar signing over the weekend, a 1-year, $2 million deal for Donovan Peoples-Jones, the
told you they're going to keep him.
Michigan receiver that they acquired in the during the season in a trade with the Cleveland Browns. So he signs a 1-year, $2 million deal. Really, it didn't really click for him, I don't think, when he came over midseason. But after being with the team for, a handful of games at the end of the year, after a full offseason with the team, working with Jared Goff, Braylon, what do you make of this signing? Could he satisfy that Josh Reynolds role, or do they still need another guy?
Look, I like him. I think they still need another guy, but this could work out. I was definitely with Maz in terms of keeping him home. I told you he went to Cass Tech, which is a nickel throw away from Ford Field. Him and my mom go to the same church, Empowerment, right there in Southfield and 10 Miles. So he's a homegrown kid. He's also a hardball guy. Like, Dan Campbell likes hardball guys. You're starting to see it. The conversation that they had at the Combine, he also played for Jim Harbaugh. He's a good kid. I know him well. He's also a guy that makes plays. Like, he made plays in Cleveland when given an opportunity. Juice Landry, as well as Odell, was injured the majority of the time there. He had 800 yards one season. I think he had 14 games started, 800 yards. He had 600 yards the year before that, both 3 touchdown seasons. He's a guy that makes plays. We saw that whether he was running punts back in Michigan or whether he was in the end zone as a wide receiver. He can make plays, and you give him a year with Jared Goff. I'm not bringing this guy in here to be number one, so don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he's going to be a Pro Bowler or an All-Pro, but you're bringing him in to be a third wide receiver. He's a guy that has starting potential. You put him in at a 3 spot, a lot of mismatches on teams. So I think he's a guy that $2 million is well spent for Detroit. I still would get another guy, but I definitely like him earning that 3rd spot. It's a guy I like.
So does he take Josh Reynolds' spot?
Yeah.
He does?
He does.
So we're not going to see Josh Reynolds, You don't think?
You will not.
You feel confident in this guy taking Josh Reynolds' spot? I like him. I'm just asking you.
That's a tough spot to take, and that's because Josh Reynolds and Jared Goff have chemistry.
Yes.
They had chemistry in L.A. That's why they went and brought Josh Reynolds to Detroit. You remember, Jared really didn't have it. Quintus Cephas was Jared Goff's guy in the mid-game, and then they brought in Josh Reynolds. He made some plays at the end of the season. So that chemistry definitely is a really good chemistry, so you're going to miss that. But at the same time, look, I know you can't be judged for 1 drop or 2 drops in this case. You can't. It happens to the best of them. He did some really good things for the Detroit Lions. But when your number is called as a guy that's not making $30 million, not making $25 million, when your number is called, you got to deliver. And then when your number is called again in the biggest game that Detroit Lions have ever seen, maybe the second biggest because it happened again in 91, your name's called twice, you drop both passes.
This was bigger. Let's
be honest. They would have won the game. Or they couldn't. I don't want to do Josh like that. They probably would have won the game if he catches one of those, definitely if he catches both of those. That's tough for an owner. That's tough for a coach. That's tough for a GM to overlook. If you make it $30 million, there's nothing we can do about it. If you're the number 2 and you're making $20 million, all right, you got to catch that. The 3rd receiver, it's tough.
So Josh is going to make – he wants too much money.
Yeah,
basically, instead of giving Josh $6 million, $7 million, they'll give DPJ $2 million. Is what you're saying, and draft the receiver 100%. Maybe.
And you look at Josh Reynolds. Only Amon-Ra St. Brown and Sam Laporta caught more passes and more touchdowns than Josh Reynolds. That is
all his catches are first downs.
All of them are first downs or touchdowns. That is an incredibly important role to fill. And look, I love Donovan Peoples-Jones. I hope it works out. I haven't seen. I got to see it now.
Sure.
You know what I mean? I got to see it.
Maybe he gets that pat on the back, the confidence. Maybe he turns it. Mm-hmm. Hey, look, we're going with you.
Yeah.
Right.
Now give us what you know he can give us.
Right.
You need somebody to believe in you.
That's
right
what I
mean. I'm agreeing with you. And right now it seems like the Lions are believing in Donovan Peoples-Jones, which will give him some confidence, which will give him it's a guy that already has confidence. But just going back to the Josh Reynolds deal, Ryan, Maz, I think it's tough also to bring him back. 1, I'm not paying him I'm not paying $8 million. Like, I'm just not after what I saw in the NFC Championship. 2, the fan base. The fans are brutal. He goes out there, first pass he dropped, they want him out of here. First pass he drops, you're like, here we go. What happens on the next catch? Does he drop another one?
But they forget that when you catch a touchdown. They're fickle. We're fickle fans.
But also, too, for his mental. Where's his mentor?
He's out of here. I mean,
Like,
that's
where's his
not,
mentor?
No one signed him yet.
Josh Reynolds, I love Josh Reynolds, but I don't think he'll re-sign here in Detroit.
They just freed up some money.
Yeah, I mean, maybe
Not
they
for
do. Maybe they do. I don't know, and I'm not. I wouldn't say ship him out of town. If there was an avenue to re-sign Josh Reynolds, I would probably re-sign him. And I do think the fans would be very forgiving of Josh Reynolds.
Of course they would.
They're very forgiving around here for a lot of people. Dan Campbell, kickers.
Look, this is just me. This is my opinion. This is fun. We're going back and forth. We're not agreeing. I'm not agreeing on that one. This isn't Buffalo. This isn't Scott Norwood. This isn't Buffalo. Remember, he missed the kick, and then he goes back to Buffalo, and the people of Buffalo were so happy that they went to the Super Bowl. They come out in droves, and they support him. They cheer him. They clap. We want Scott. That's not Detroit. You cannot tell me if Scott Norwood played for the Lions and missed a field goal to win it, they would be bringing him out. Same thing with Josh Reynolds. Like, the Lions fans, remember, you just told me it was the biggest game in Detroit Lions history.
It was.
Well, in the biggest game in Detroit Lions history, he dropped two passes that probably would have gotten your team to the Super Bowl. A lot of fans ain't going to forget
The
that.
one thing I don't like about the wide receiver room right now as it is, you've got a lot of young guys, man. Everybody in that room is less than 25 years old. You know what I mean? How old is Amon-Ra St. Brown? 25 years old?
20,
He's the leader.
Yeah, 25.
You know,
He's the leader
he's
for sure.
24 years old. He'll be 25, I think. Man, I love to have quote-unquote veterans in the room. You know, you've got DPJ, which is 25.
Yeah.
You got Amon-Ra at 24. Jameson Williams is, 22?
Yeah.
There's nobody really in that room that is that 27, 28, 29-year-old like Josh Reynolds was. I just think I don't know if that matters in today's NFL because it doesn't feel like there's a lot of 30-year-olds in the league anymore. I think Marvin Jones was the oldest player in the league at wide receiver.
That wasn't a quarterback.
Last year. So, and that didn't work out so well either. So maybe I don't know what I'm talking about, but it feels like a very young room.
It is.
No, it is a young room. I'm going to give you two sides of the coin. Like, that definitely it pays to have older guys. I remember when I was with the Jets, Jericho Cotchery was a phenomenal wide receiver from North Carolina State. He was 28. I was 27. Santonio Holmes was 26. So we had some older guys in that room, so we were able to bounce a lot of ideas off each other, and the young guys got to learn. But Amon-Ra St. Brown, although he may be young, he is elite in all aspects. He's a leader on that team. He's a leader for the wide receiver room. He does things the right way. You saw he had Jameson Williams on the jug machine last training camp when he first got back off the suspension. I mean, when he was in training camp and then also when he got back off the suspension. He's a leader. Like, they may only have one guy, but he's the right guy. Like, and I look at that. You get DPJ is another guy. And I know he's creeping up there. DPJ
25.
He's 25. You got. I like Amon-Ra St. Brown in this situation. I think he's enough of
He's like a 40-year-old.
Yeah, exactly. Because even when I met him, like, obviously he talks shit, but when I met him,
And I mean that
I felt old energy.
The great, all due respect.
Hey,
in the best
KJ
possible
Osborne,
way.
to me, was a guy I would have loved to have seen come here.
Minnesota.
He went 1 year to New England, signed a 1 year, $4 million contract. 1 year, $4 million. That's what he went to New England for.
I like KJ Osborne.
I really liked him. I really thought last year was a coming out party for him.
Well, then he'll go be the number one receiver in New England. That's what he's betting on himself.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's why he does something like that.
But I think that's a guy that kind of slipped by. A lot of teams slip by.
You know, Lions, man. Lions like their type of guys. So if they heard anything about KJ Osborne, that's why he didn't make it there. But to your
they probably
point,
didn't like that T-shirt he was wearing or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't like it. It's too busy.
Yeah.
It's too much. But
just other Lions news, they restructured the contract of Carlton Davis, comes over, and that frees up about $4.5 million worth of cap space. This is great, too. And
without playing it down.
And I think it's a really good sign of who Carlton Davis is, willing to come over and do something like this because, it's not incumbent upon you to restructure a contract, especially for people that you don't know. He just got traded here. He comes here, and he's willing to do this. So good for Carlton Davis. Shows you who he is. He's a team guy, and maybe that the Lions can use some cap space to sign other players. They had a number of deals as well today, just contractually that they got through. So just some
Yeah,
money.
Pete, can you put that up?
Yeah,
There they are.
just some money aspects.
Jared Goff made a couple bucks.
Yeah, $5 million roster bonus. Taylor Decker, $500,000 bonus.
Man, I miss
David
the bonuses.
Montgomery's salary is guaranteed. Cam Sutton's salary is guaranteed just by staying on through this period in the calendar.
So Goff quietly got a raise.
$5 million.
I didn't get a raise. He's got part of the money already
Bonus.
on though.
Right.
So hey,
That's a nice little check to
I
have.
missed those bonuses.
Yeah.
Like, I was looking at that. I said, I remember seeing those.
What's the
bonuses,
biggest
man.
check you ever got? One check.
3.6.
What do you do with that money?
Put in the bank.
Yeah, but you don't put it all in the bank.
No, you don't put it all in the bank. You have some
Hey,
fun
give
with
me
it, but
300,000 out of that cash.
you got moms like get that from you before you do something stupid. No, it's funny. I had a funny playoff story. Is one of my one of my bonuses that my agent Lamont Smith put in my contract when I played for the Browns was if we make it to the AFC Championship, then I think I had a $500,000 bonus in my contract. Well, I was playing for the Browns, never thought about the playoffs, so forgot all about this contractual language. Well, the Jets picked up. I got traded, so the Jets essentially had the same contract. So when we made the AFC Championship, my first year with the Jets in 2010, my agent told me this after we'd already made it to the AFC Championship. He was like, he sent me a screenshot. He was like, I just want to show you something. And I read it. I'm like, I just got $500,000 for making the AFC Championship? You talking about not knowing? Because I was in Cleveland. We never
great
making
is
the
that?
playoffs.
It's like winning the lottery.
Wow.
It was. It was. I know what I did with that.
Did you
shit.
take half of that for pocket change?
No. I took that whole check to Vegas. We turned up. We turned up.
That's
Oh
classic,
my
man.
gosh, that is. I feel like you're a completely different person
I am.
from that guy.
That's hilarious,
You know what I
man.
mean? It's like you're responsible and all that stuff. Now it's
100%.
like
I just
but
love-
guess I'm a different person than
Yeah.
I was 15, 20 years ago
Yeah.
as well. You know what I mean?
Well, he was flushed with $300,000 in his pocket.
Sheesh.
Me flushed. I hit a trifecta at the Meadowlands. I might have had
300.
$280 in my pocket. That was a lot for me. Wow, I got $280. I'm
Oh, my God.
flushed,
Money
man.
is money, baby.
More Lions news. Just getting a look at their new defensive line as well. Really something to see when you see that big man in the middle. DJ Reader right there. Lee McNeil, Aiden Hutchinson, Marcus Davenport, if healthy. James Houston, if healthy. We believe Houston will be. Not sure about Davenport, but we'll see. But what a completely different group of players this looks to be.
Looks good.
And now a strength on the team.
It looks real good. I mean, you're talking about going from a weakness, man. That D-line was a weakness. There was games where no one's getting to the quarterback. There's no pressures. There's no sacks. Quarterbacks are just allowed to sit back there and take their sweet time, pat the ball, and find guys open. Now you add DJ Reader, you put him right in the middle. He's a run stopper, but also he can rush the passer. You know what Davenport can do when he's healthy. And then James Houston, we hope he can get back to the form. In 9 games, he had 8.5 sacks. It was amazing to see him and Aiden Hutchinson opposite each other. And then Lee McNeil. Lee McNeil lost weight last year. He had, one of his better years. He finally showed that promise. When I think
Stay healthy.
ESPN did the piece they put up 2 years ago, say he's one of the biggest freaks in the NFL. Like, now you're starting to see that ability. So I like what they're doing, man. It's going to help the linebacker core out because there's another area the Lions are weak in. A good D-line helps all sides. Helps every level.